You think another financial meltdown can't happen, then you better make darn sure the banks have plenty of money set aside just in case. That's the theory behind the so-called stress tests that the government's been giving banks. What they do is mimic meltdown-like events and see if the banks can withstand the pressure, whether they have enough cash on hand or emergency contingency plans in place to weather either a huge market sell-off or a sudden rush of money out of the bank, customer loan defaults, or all of that. All good. Here's what I think is bad. Not the banks, the ones taking the test, most of whom perform well, I'm told. The government bureaucrats, the folks giving the test, in this case it would be the Federal Reserve, a lot of them really couldn't find their way out of a financial paper bag. The ones with no cash on hand, judging whether banks have enough cash on hand. The ones totally spent, judging whether banks are spent. The ones who wouldn't even know accountability, checking the accounting of folks who at least kind of do. Kind of stuff. This is ridiculous. It would be like me judging a fitness contest. Do not go there. Or let's say Bill Clinton pitching a marriage counseling service, or Vladimir Putin doing "Come to Red Square, the weather's beautiful" service, or Bruce Jenner doing spots for Men's Warehouse. Work with me. Or his Kardashian extended family promos for a Christian dating service. No. Now, I'm all for testing. And I'm all for having fun while we're preparing here. But I want a guy who's really fit to be my trainer, and I want someone who's really financially fit to be our bank's trainer. The government is not. It's kind of like the late John Belushi, the animal in the house, just not the animal you want fixing the house. So that's my spiel to Mercedes Schlapp, who kind of agrees with all of this, that the government is not fit to judge anyone's fitness. To Bernard Whitman, who disagrees, because I think your view, Bernard, is that there's no one else to judge the fitness, right?
Yeah, I mean, the fact is the American people strongly support this. We need it. We need to have these protections. And, in fact, the fact that this week 29 of the 31 banks passed the stress test, huge news for the economy. It means more money in the pockets of shareholders. It means more money in the pockets of hardworking Americans. It means more money in our 401ks. I mean, the truth is...
It's amazing they did as well with the tens of billions of dollars worth of fines they got, right?
And, well, I mean, you know what? It just...
And the bailout money.
But the banks have come back and they're strong, and that means the economy is expanding and going to create more jobs. I mean, the fact is that we need these types of safeguards. We need these types of protections in place. And I actually think that the government metrics are pretty good. I mean, after all, the deficit is down by 2/3 since Obama took office. It's gone. It's been cut by $1 trillion. It's gone. The deficit annually has gone from $1.5 trillion when he took office to $500 million. I mean, to $500 billion. It's still a lot of money.
You're a young guy.
Unemployment.
But $500 billion is a lot of money.
It is, but it's
just added to that debt.
But it's $1 trillion less than it was.
All I'm saying, I agree with the need for stress tests and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
I just want a government stress test. I want to see if they are ready for the next meltdown. I want to see if they have their books in order.
And let's look back at May 2014 when Fed Chairman Janet Yellen came out in front of the Joint Committee in Congress talking about this. She basically said, under our current policies, it is unsustainable, these federal deficits. We know we're going to see this federal deficit increase to $7.6 trillion.
I think she was talking about the accumulation of the debt, that we got to do something about that. Got to do something about entitlements.
It was both.
So she's right about that. And
right.
Oddly enough, it's the Fed that's doing these stress tests. And also, I don't begrudge the fact that we should do something to test banks. Believe me. I just think we should include the test giver in that test.
Absolutely. I mean, they're known as being wasteful spenders, and the fact is that we're seeing more federal spending increase, mandatory federal spending.
And I would apply this to Republicans or Democrats, so don't you get on a party rap.
I would argue, with due respect, Neil, that in fact we do have a government stress test. You know what it's called? It's called Election Day. If the public believes the government is not performing, the people will remove those.
Under Republicans and Democrats, we piled up the debt. What are we going to do? Where's their accountability? Because any rating service will tell you, you know what haunts our government rating? How we're going to deal with entitlements, how we're going to deal with the big picture issues.
Right.
And we don't do it.
Put more people to work, actually pay more money in taxes so that we can actually bring the deficit down.
Then do a stress test for that, because we wouldn't pass it right now.
Work on entitlements.
Well, and the government wouldn't survive. As we know, with larger budget deficits, with larger debts, what we're looking at here is it could cause fiscal crisis here, and the investors will lose confidence in our government.
Yeah, but you don't care. You want to sell America down the... No, you don't. All right, when we come back...